meditate on this. The subconscious mind is like a black hole. It's a vacuum. It pulls in everything that crosses its path. The portals or gateways to the subconscious mind exist on the human body, in the human body. Some of them are called ears, some of them are called eyes. And you receive certain signals and things and messages, etc., through these senses, through these tools for senses, sight, hearing, etc. But no matter what you do, no matter what you put in front of your ears, no matter what you put in front of your eyes, just understand that the subconscious mind is going to receive that and it's going to be embedded within you in perpetuity. It's going to be with you forever. And the people in power know this. The ruling class know this, and they do a damn good job of putting things in there that are not going to lead to quality of thought. It's important that you take control of this and try to embed things with high quality of thought into your subconscious mind, so that when they come back to the surface, when they come back, they pop out on the other side, they're fruitful. The things that are good for you, things that lead to quality of thought. So try to embed good things in your subconscious mind. Now that we know we have to program the subconscious mind, do that consciously, the next question becomes, with what? I believe we need to start with music. Music is very natural. Everybody loves music. They're even treating dementia with music, because music can take you to the past, bring you to memories, the vibe. Everything is just seems to come into focus clearly. It's easily visualized when you put music and have a soundtrack to your life. And so what type of music do we listen to? You know, it's part of our daily ritual. It's part of our daily dealings in programming the subconscious mind. The type of music we listen to is very important. And think about quality of thought. Is your music going to nurture the idea of quality of thought? Or is it ratchet? Is it supremely ghetto? Is it trash? Or is it breathing life into you? Right? It's the difference between listening to, something that's promoting death as to something that's promoting life. Looking at some of the neurological effects that happen when you listen to certain types of music, nourishing the brain with that type of music. The TV shows you watch, the movies you watch. What type of shows do you watch, and how are you inspired by them? What are the images that are being implanted in your subconscious mind from the movies and TV and the media that you watch, from the things you watch on YouTube, etc., etc. If you look at one of those controversial stories about TikTok, I said that Chinese people, or the Chinese Communist Party, whatever, has a different algorithm than the one for the Western nations. The one in the Western nations, the kids are watching videos that go viral, doing pranks and all types of silly stuff. And China's algorithm is showing kids completing puzzles and doing math. These are the things they're promoting because they understand the programming of the subconscious mind is very important for the future of your people and where they're going. So with that same concept in mind, what type of media are you always being influenced by? What type of media do you constantly force yourself to be influenced by? What if we saw images of love all the time instead of images of destruction, war, etc., etc.?
What type of media is Hotep Jesus influenced by?
I like the old stuff. I like the classics. Mostly written work, literature. That's the type of stuff I listen to. I listen to a lot of lectures. One of my favorite lecturers is John Henrik Clarke, Dr. Kaba Kamene. Those are like two of my faves. I like listening to scholarly work, scholarly teachers. I go to bed to to chess videos.
Yeah, I can try to get that handled for you. Again, it's only my second day, so if you can give me a second. How am I supposed to do this? How the hell are we supposed to do this by 5 o'clock?
I have no clue.
Is that possible? Hey, do you have the password to... How'd you finish all your work already?
He's not tapped in. How'd you get that done so quick?
They think they're gonna be able to budget that?
It's money. That's money right there, you understand?
You guys finished your work 6 hours early?
He's not tapped in.
Kamala Harris has been raised from the dead, and she's not coming with bad news. Wait, no, she's coming with bad news. The Grift Report starts now.
2, 1, boom. Hotep Jesus.
Of all the Jesuses I know, he's the Hotepiest. Social scientist and YouTube host, Hotep Jesus.
How the fuck do you get a name like Hotep Jesus?
The one and only Hotep Jesus.
Ryan Sharp, better known to the world as Hotep Jesus.
Hotep Jesus. Hotep Jesus. Hotep Jesus.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
Somebody said, "What do you think you are? Some kind of Hotep Jesus?"
Ooh,
And I
that's
was
good.
Just like, ooh, that's sexy. Yes, I do think I'm Hotep Jesus.
What's good, people? Welcome to the Grift Report, live Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. I'm your host,
Hotep Jesus.
the Grift God.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
Oh, this a real Hotep brother.
Hotep to all the Hoteps in the chat. Why is the chat not loading? A whole lot of technical difficulties. What is Mercury in retrograde right now or something? My camera wasn't working earlier. I had to fix that again. Carlton Way, what's up, man? Jack Reeves the Hotep, Sauce the Prophet, Steph Colonel, what's up, fellas? What's going on over on the Rumbles? Who's over on the Rumbles? Retro Neon, S. Berry Fields. Hey, Heather, tell me in the chat, I think I got an order from you at menoforder.com. Was that you that ordered? I could have sworn that's you, right? Please give me confirmation on that because you attended HotepCon this year and it looked like you paid full price. So let me know that's you and I'll go in and the next time your shipment goes out, it'll be at the family discounted price. And anybody else that went to HotepCon, let me know because I can also put you on the family in-house discounted price. What up, Kay? What up, Tari? Tari was at HotepCon. What up, Kay? What's up, Jay? Mercury ain't in retrograde until December 13th? Okay. Do we have Women of Order shirts yet? Well, I can't talk about that yet, but we do have a sister brand coming soon. So look out for that. Good news coming. We will have products for the ladies. And yeah, look out for that. But it's not going to be called Women of Order. That just sounds way too masculine for women. We're going to do something more feminine for the ladies. But we will have a female spinoff brand. Absolutely. Absolutely. You better believe it. Just trying to figure out who's going to head that up as far as brand ambassador is concerned. Like I'm the major brand ambassador for Men of Order. We need a major one for the women. Somebody with a nice amount of reach. Anyway. Announcements. So first of all, I streamed chess. Was it Saturday night? Saturday night, I was streaming chess on kick.com. Go subscribe to Hotep Jesus on kick.com. I'll be streaming live chess games. It was a pretty good night. It was a pretty good night of streaming. I streamed for like an hour or so, playing 2-minute bullet chess, 1-minute increment, and my rating went up 36 points. So I had a bunch of good wins, a couple of disappointing losses. but you can't win them all. But at the end of the day, I won way more games than I did losses. So it was a good day. It was a good day. Also, don't forget, if you want to stake on Hotep Jesus, if you believe in me, and you want to get an ROI for believing in me, hit the link in the description box below and join our Telegram group. It's going to say access the airdrop group right in the description box below. Somebody in the chat will post it in the chat. Appreciate my mods. Thank you very much for providing that service to the community. But join us there. Lots of great announcements coming soon. But yeah, just a really convenient way to get an ROI on your crypto. Shout out to Syscoin. They had a wonderful spaces today on how to buy Sys using your debit card through Coinify. So look out for that as well. That is now live. Also, in the airdrop group, in the Telegram group that's in the description box, Kay just posted it. I posted my investment outlook for November. So basically, what I'm looking at as far as every month, I dollar cost average into my various portfolios, and I started to start sharing those in the Telegram group, mostly crypto related. So if you want to see what my crypto plays are, I'll be executing on the first of the month. I do all of my investments on the first of the month. If you'd like to see my crypto investments, join the Telegram group and I will share those with you. Also, last and great announcement. Guess who's coming on the platform tomorrow? Guess who's going to be our special guest tomorrow? Can anybody guess? Can anybody guess? If you've been paying attention this weekend, you'll know. Very, very, very special guest coming on the platform tomorrow. Can anybody guess who? Thanks to my followers for coordinating that, and bringing that to the top of the pile. Can anybody guess? Can anybody guess? Anybody? 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 I hate that the fresh and fit. Yeah, nah. Women of Chastity. Yeah, that's a good name. That's a good name for our female brand, our sister brand. Wendy Yo, Laura Luma, Alex Jones. Nope. None of the above. Tariq Nasheed. Nope. I'll give you guys another 30 seconds to take some guesses there. Jeff Charles, nope. Shout out to Jeff Charles. Who said Royce White? J-Mod said Royce White. Yes, Donde, I took my master focus and I am ready to go. Yes, Royce White will be joining us tomorrow.
Oh, this a real Hotep brother.
It's going to get spicy. It's going to get spicy. Yes, it's going to get spicy. Make sure y'all look out. Make sure y'all look out for that. It's going to be an absolutely amazing conversation. We're going to talk about the debacle between him and Jason Whitlock had a falling out. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about his outlook on America because he's running for office. And we'll also talk about the Israel-Palestine conflict. All right. Real quick, just to tell you the pacing of the show today. Biden and Kamala Harris at 2:30 are going to have a press conference on artificial intelligence, where allegedly they're going to issue an executive order for regulation. So we're going to listen to that. We're going to listen to that live. I have it up and ready to go here, so I'll know when that starts. And yeah, so look out for that about 20 minutes from now. In the meantime, we have a lot to cover. So let's jump right into our material for today. The CBDC update of the day, sponsored by Syscoin, one of the most secure blockchain technologies on the planet. Check this out. So I had this prepared last night. I was doing my preparations for this morning, so I wouldn't have to think so much. So just getting a jump ahead, and I saw a couple of articles here that were a bit concerning. Now, I didn't include one of them in the CBDC update of the day, so I want to pull this up. and show you what I saw. Why is it not showing up in my history? Hold on. I have to go in my history. Or did I? Maybe I didn't pull this up on a computer. Maybe this was on my phone. Maybe I watched this on my phone or read it on my phone and it's not here. But I'll be able to pull it up in just a second. Korea, no. No. And it's very important we talk about this. So basically what I'm looking at here is hold on. Let's change that to past 24. Okay, nothing. Past week. Damn. All right, I'll have to go into my email. Hold on. I didn't expect to share this with you. Where is it? Hold on. No, not that. There's two Nigeria stories, but it's not that one. Hold on. Let me, is it here? Oh, here it is. I did have it up. I'm sorry. I had it up the whole time. That's why it wasn't appearing. It was on my screen. I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm going to put this up on the screen now. So check this out. I'm probably going to do a short on this too. So this report came out 3 days ago, October 27th. The title here says CBDC trade-offs. Financial inclusion versus expanding tax base, lessons from Africa, right? So when you talk about financial inclusion in Africa, places like Kenya and Tanzania specifically is what we're looking at today. And I saw this on my own in, I don't know, 2013, 2014, whenever it was that I went to Tanzania. And a lot of the country has moved to mobile and mobile payments. They have an app called M-Pesa, which is basically a mobile app, which they do all of their mobile, financial payments, right? Any type of micropayments or anything like that, they do that through the mobile app. Now, recently, Elon Musk said he wants everyone to do all their financial transactions on Twitter, right? Digitally through Twitter. Now, watch this. I'm going to show you what happens in Africa when you do digital mobile payments. So it says times change. Okay, following Kenya's election last year in January, the new administration saw M-Pesa as what? A useful way to identify people that should be paying taxes. Identify people that should be paying taxes. Now, without having to do too much work and explain to you what's going on here, I do have a short on this very topic, which I am going to play right here. Let's pull this up on the screen. And I'll play this. Slaves. The IMF and many other financial institutions keep pushing for financial inclusion. And after further thought, I realized that's exactly what this is. New slaves. Essentially what happens is this. When you add people to the CBDC system, it increases surveillance. The government, Big Brother, is watching you. In addition, it increases their tax base. The more people that they can track, the more transactions they can track, the more people paying taxes. This right here is not financial inclusion. This is a new form of slavery. Subscribe for more. All right. So Now, that video was inspired by just me thinking about the implications of financial inclusion, what they are really trying to say. And now this report comes out. So it says here, as a result, local news outlets reported that a substantial number of small businesses stopped using their mobile payments and returned to cash. Last month, the tax service deployed 1,400 new staff to enroll more taxpayers. Reportedly, it targeted businesses that recently stopped using M-Pesa. This is another Hotep's Been Told You moment. This is another Hotep. I mean, it's pretty obvious what was happening if you thought about it, but it's all about increasing their tax base. Remember when they talked about in the United States, what was it, like 800, 1,600, how many new tax agents were they looking to hire and send out to get us or whatever? Yeah. So the same thing is happening in Africa. So under the guise of financial inclusion is really an increase in the tax base. So let's look at Tanzania, because that was Kenya. It says right here, Tanzania tells a more extreme story. Between 2009 and 2023, financial inclusion rocketed from 16% to 76%, okay? Most of it being mobile money. It says here, until mid-2021, fees on mobile money transfers and withdrawals incurred a value-added tax of 18% plus excise duty of 10%. Oh, my God. No wonder people are doing so bad in fucking Tanzania. Anyway, in July 2021, the government introduced an additional levy on fees for transfers and withdrawals based on transaction size. This increased fees by as little as 3% for small transactions, but as much as 369% for mid-sized transactions or higher. This to me just sounds like some Marxist attack the middle class type situation going on here. The impact was immediate. Between June and September 2021, the number of mobile peer-to-peer transactions fell by 38% per month, and the number of cash-out transactions dropped 25%, according to a GSMA report. The government responded and has reduced the tax 3 times since. However, the cash-out figures still have not fully recovered. The GSMA estimates a loss in growth of 30% in transactions and 60% in cash out. So they increase financial inclusivity through mobile payments. They increase taxes. People go, you know what? I'm sick of this digital stuff. I'm going back to cash, right? So this is all very important before we talk about the two main topics today. One of them is a speech given by the central bank, Federal Reserve, and also one here from Wells Fargo. So we're going to put those on the screen. We're going to start first with the central bank called the Federal Reserve. Let's fix this on the screen. Make sure you guys can see this. Well and good. Let me check on the chat to make sure everybody's good. Everybody good? Thank you, Michelle. 87,000? Yeah, 87,000 new IRS agents. HJ had his grift list all weekend. I'm sorry, man. Like, my parents came up Saturday, so I was spending time with the fam. Had to check on my homie. He wasn't doing too good. I had to check on him Saturday. And Sunday, I was running around handling business. So my bad for not grifting this weekend. Uncle Hotep was holding us down, though. I try not to stream on Sundays so everybody can get their grift from Uncle Hotep. All right, so there are some... This is October 27th. Remarks here by Vice Chair for Supervision, Michael S. Barr of the Federal Reserve. And this is at the Economics of Payments 7th Conference, Federal Reserve Board, Washington, D.C. So I'm not going to read this whole thing, but we'll just highlight some things. So obviously talks about the role of the Federal Reserve, and that is to supervise banks or supervision of banks. This came about in the Monetary Control Act of 1980. Go do your own research. You can also purchase my report, the Patriot Report, Unmasked the Conspiracy of Money and War at HotepJesus.com.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
Took me 2 years of research to compile all of the data into one place and, easily digestible from various sources, over 200 citations. So if you want to learn about the history of financial of central banking in America, really, really great document. All right, let's continue. So he says here, he's talking about FedNow. Now, I remember when I initially spoke of FedNow, I called it the railroad or potential railroad for the CBDC. And that's exactly what Mr. Barr says here. He said FedNow represents new rails, quote unquote, by which payments can keep pace with today's businesses and consumers, right? He said banks can build on this infrastructure to provide better service for households and businesses. He says it is hard to speak about payments innovation without mentioning the increased experimentation with new payment technologies, such as stable coins and central bank digital currencies, aka CBDCs, happening in the private and public sectors, both in the United States and elsewhere. As this work proceeds, we must carefully weigh the benefits and risks. So he talks about CBDCs here, right? Real quick, when people were talking about regulation of cryptocurrency, I said stable coins are going to be the first thing to be regulated heavily because crypto is really hard to regulate, but stable coins, they'll definitely come down on because, as they explain here, it borrows on the trust of the central bank. You're basically piggybacking off of the USD. So it fully puts you in a jurisdiction of FinCEN, Federal Reserve, SEC, and all those other people, right? So he's calling for regulation on stablecoins, and we are expected to see that. Let me pop this out here to make sure, pause, we do see Kamala and Joe Biden go live when they're ready. He says here, in terms of CBDC, we continue to speak to a broad range of stakeholders and conduct basic research in emerging technologies that might support CBDC payments backbone, or for other purposes in the existing payment system. He said the research is currently focused on end-to-end. All right, so blah, 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 blah. So here he says this work helps us consider how we could design a digital analog to the paper banknote that permits transfer of value between two parties without direct facilitation by the issuing central bank. Now here, when he says the issuing central bank, I take it as two ways. One, I take it as the Federal Reserve, and then I also take it as, your regular bank. That's the intermediary, aka the central bank central to the transaction occurring. Not really sure which way to take it here. I'll assume he's talking about the central bank, Federal Reserve, but I'm not sure. So digital analog of paper banknote that provides transfer between two parties without direct facility. It's very confusing because when you go to the Wells Fargo article, you'll see why this starts to get confusing for me. Anyway, he says it's important to note, however, that while the Federal Reserve supports further research and continued engagement with a broad range of stakeholders, the Fed made no decision on issuing a CBDC, right? And, Chair Powell has emphasized that. He says, with this in mind, they're learning from both domestic and international experimentation. So remember, we discussed this on the show. The United States will probably be one of the last countries to get a CBDC because they're sitting back and watching. Remember, this is something we discussed. I said they're just simply sitting back and watching to see how everything goes in every other country, and then they'll execute based upon those learnings. And one of those test markets happens to be in Africa, Nigeria specifically, also the Caribbean. It says right here, the Federal Reserve supports and continues to work with the international community. So there's cooperation between the Federal Reserve and the international community. They mentioned the G20 here, et cetera, et cetera. Again, at the end here, he does talk about financial inclusion. Anytime you talk about financial inclusion, you should know what they're talking about. They're talking about sending out more IRS agents and tracking more people. So, they can try to fool us, but they can't. They can't. We're Hoteps, and we're just too keen, too sharp to fool. So, I'm not sure if it's this article or. Yeah. Okay. So it's the Wells Fargo article. So let's go to the Wells Fargo article. Let's bring this up. Make sure you guys can see this on your screen. Good. Okay. Wonderful. So the Wells Fargo article here. This is from WellsFargoAdvisors.com. It says central bank digital currencies and the future of money. This was published on October 19th, right? And, excuse me. So what they're saying is they suspect that a CBDC will be here in 3 to 5 years. 3 plus 5 equals 8. 8 is the number of money for all my numerologists out there. So interesting that he said 3 to 5 years. So 3 to 5 years is when they speculate we'll get a CBDC. And that's definitely well within reason. Although I wouldn't be surprised if we got it a year earlier than that. In 2 years is what I suspect. 2026. Yeah. What's next year? No, 2025 was my prediction. 2025 was my prediction. All right, so it says right here, look at this. Look at this. This is interesting. It says the release of FedNow might give us some clues on the timeline. So they're connecting FedNow with the CBDC. It said the Fed normally started studying the potential of FedNow nearly 10 years before its release. While we're not expecting a CBDC release to take 10 years, we do believe it could take a few more years before a final design is reached. So it says here in regards to would a CBDC replace the US dollar, they say it'll simply be another option. I don't know how much we can trust that, but that's what they're saying. It says what kind of money is the most private? Obviously, the most private is hard cash, right? Physical cash. It says as for a CBDC, it appears at first blush that it could be one of the easiest forms of money to use, but also potentially the least private. So Wells Fargo is admitting that the CBDC is the least private option. It says here, privacy has evolved as a main concern with the CBDC because it will be created by and be a direct liability of the Fed. This means that a CBDC has a potential to be distributed directly by the Fed to individuals and businesses, which is quite different from how money is created and distributed today. Now listen to this. It says today, the Fed does not issue money directly to individuals, but oversees third parties such as commercial banks, which create money in the forms of loans and credit deposits for individuals. This interaction can be seen in the figure, and they show the figure above, right? So just real quick to show you that figure. Here it is right here. All right. And then there's another one here. So you guys can go see all of that. So where is it? Is it here? Where he says digital analog to the paper banknote that permits a transfer of value between two parties without direct facilitation by the issuing central bank. So the Fed is saying without direct facilitation by the issuing central bank. And this is why I'm confused. I'm like, you're not talking about the Fed. You have to be talking about the banks, because when Wells Fargo talks about it, Wells Fargo is saying that the Fed is actually going to be the intermediary, or actually just the direct distributor to individuals and businesses, which means that your normal everyday bank is now obsolete. This is how Wells Fargo is talking about it. They say it right here in their paper. It says it has the potential to be distributed directly to individuals and businesses. So you'll do business directly with the Fed, it's saying has a potential. It says, notice that a CBDC has the potential to be distributed directly to individuals, which could make government payments such as stimulus checks easier for consumers. Now, we've talked about that. So we said, they're going to sell us on a CBDC or force a CBDC or shoehorn a CBDC with government systems, any type of welfare or socialist program, CBDC. On the flip side, however, consumers may have concerns over direct dealings with the government over personal finances. Not only could these dealings become cumbersome, but they could come at the expense of individual privacy. So again, privacy is a concern, and Wells Fargo is admitting this. Now you might ask yourself, well, why is Wells Fargo snitching on the Fed? Because Wells Fargo might not be here anymore, okay, after the Fed takes over. Again, here's a diagram of how this stuff works. So you see the Fed is in the middle here, and they charge interest to the Treasury. Treasury issues these bonds. These bonds can also go to banks and institutions. Reserves and deposits go back and forth between the Fed and the banks, and then those things get distributed. Now you see here in the traditional system, you have the banks lending directly to individuals. You have the Treasury also dealing with individuals in the form of tax payments and also federal benefits. But if you look in the middle here, you see Federal Reserve, CBDC, direct to business. There is no bank in between. And this is issued by the Wells Fargo Investment Institute, September 2023. In this note, they mention here, will a CBDC be backed by gold? It says we doubt it. It said the CBDC will be backed by the full faith and credit of the U.S. government, basically our ass, you and me, the taxpayer. Okay, now let's look at this. I've heard that in the U.S. already that a CBDC went live in January 2023. Is this true? And they say, no, it's not true. And that's true. And it says here, think of FedNow as financial payment rails, and U.S. dollars move them, and U.S. dollars move over them, right? So this is what we talked about before, where it's like a railroad. And it says, and we talked about this before, where we said the CBDC would go on this rail system potentially as FedNow. And let's look at Wells Fargo is saying. FedNow is an interesting new service used by banks in an effort to speed up payments to other banks. But to be very clear, it was not built using blockchain-related technologies. And this is true. Even so, FedNow has been proven useful to consumers because payments such as personal checks and payrolls clear instantly versus hours and days that have historically been the experience. It says here, a U.S. CBDC, should it come to pass, may move over the FedNow rails. Or new rails may be designed using blockchain-related technologies. But it says right here, a U.S. CBDC may move over the FedNow rails. So everything we've been saying is starting to come to the light. It's coming to the forefront. And this is the thing. They're always going to tell you what they're going to do because nobody's going to check out this information. It's super boring. And to many people, it's just Greek. But again, here we are. And it's all coming to light. The FedNow may be a rail system for the CBDC. It's right there. Okay, White House says they'll begin shortly, so we're waiting on Biden. They're probably doping them up with some Adderall or something, or maybe Master Focus. Who knows what they got going on over there? FedNow says here, okay, so it says, if transactions are speeding up with FedNow, why the need for CBDC? One of the main points that I highlighted here was global travel becomes cheaper. So again, interoperability, interbank transactions, basically bank to bank, central bank to central bank. A lot of that stuff becomes easier. So, transferring or foreign exchange is going to become easier. And that's true. That's true. I don't know if it's going to be cheaper. It may be cheaper. I know it's going to be cheaper for them, for the banks. For the people, I don't know what kind of expense they'll offload to us. But that's what they promise, right? So it says right here, some of the U.S. payment rails bank to bank were recently upgraded. This is an interesting paragraph here, right? So basically what they're saying is FedNow upgraded the rails, but the U.S. dollar digitally is still running on 1.0, and it needs an upgrade to 3.0. And they call in the upgrade CBDC USD 3.0. Okay, so they got an upgrade on the rails, but the money hasn't been upgraded. So basically what Wells Fargo is saying is you have an updated rail system with an old train. So we need to update the train, upgrade the train. They go into here, what are the main positives of CBDC? It says here, not having to wait 5 days for a check to clear, reduced exchange fees, global travel, and sending money to loved ones globally should be easier. And all this very well may be true. And a lot of this is the things that they're going to use to sell you on it to make you conform to the new USD 3.0. Okay. In fact, I'm going live with Wendy today. Let's make that today's conversation. We're going on a Twitter Spaces, USD 3.0 title for really catchy title. So so we'll be going live today on is everybody good? Is the chat there? Is the stream okay? Let me make sure. Stream okay? Okay, good. All right. So what else is to say here? What are the main negatives of CBDCs? Potential to be tracked, monitored, and shut down by authorities. Now, many people have said, no, this isn't going to happen. That's not going to happen. Wells Fargo is snitching. They're telling you right now that it can be shut down. Your wallet, your money can be shut down by authorities. And it's going to be monitored. So Fourth Amendment, goodbye. It says potential is the operative word as the technology is flexible and can be designed to be privacy friendly too. Okay, so it can go either way. Depends on how they program it. It says here, will physical cash go away? It says here, CBDC is not meant to reduce or replace cash, but to offer US dollars as another payment option, right? And that's what they say. That's what they claim. But hold on tight and see how they eliminate cash. And one way that they eliminate cash, and we saw this with Nigeria, is they'll squeeze the businesses, small businesses, SMEs. They'll squeeze all those businesses and force them to use digital forms of payment. So when you go to the store, they won't accept cash. Will I have an account with the Fed to hold my CBDCs? And it says this is a tough call because it's illegal to hold an account with the Fed. And they said just wait it out to see how that turns out. This is probably the best paper I've seen on the CBDC. I got to tell you, as far as like the CBDC is concerned, this is probably the best paper I've read on it. Wells Fargo did a phenomenal job on this, and they're very, very honest about the CBDC and the concerns and stuff. So should we be concerned about individual privacy? And it says this is one of the top questions we received. Now check this out. This is one of the top questions we receive. Without formal design to discuss, we do not know for sure. It is worth noting, though, that CBDCs are programmable money and the FedNow financial rails are programmable too. Individual privacy is something that should be carefully considered in the design of any CBDC, and the Fed has said so too. Keep in mind the White House is late. They're 7 minutes late on this broadcast. The FedNow is programmable too. Now we knew this, but the way Wells Fargo are talking about it here makes me believe that if you use FedNow, they can shut down your payments. I mean, that's not something we wouldn't have speculated on our own. I'm sure we would have. And people have asked me, is FedNow the CBDC? The answer is no. Does FedNow have the ability to act as a CBDC? And I said, I don't know. Quite possibly. But Wells Fargo is saying it's programmable here. So those digital transactions is kind of like we already have a CBDC just without the CBDC. And again, I don't want to just fearmonger and jump in and make everybody afraid and say it's here now, because I prefer to be right than first. But it's looking like FedNow can't be trusted. It's looking more and more like that. I mean, I didn't think it could be trusted before. I did want to test it. I did want to use it. For own research purposes, obviously, instead of talking about something I never used, but my bank has not used it yet. My bank uses Venmo, Zelle. So I don't know what's going on with the FedNow. It's only at several hundred banks, and they're looking to roll out more in the future. They also say CBDCs are essentially a government's own cryptocurrency. This is how it pretty much ends. There's other things here about general disclosures and risk considerations. You guys can read this and more on wellsfargoadvisors.com. So yeah, that is, shout out to Syscoin, our cryptocurrency sponsor. If you know somebody who would like to sponsor the channel, reach out to me and let me know. We have wonderful programs to get to include your brand in these presentations. A lot of banks use MX now. Think Biden's still taking a nap? Yeah, he probably still asleep. They gotta wake him up. White House still has not started. It still has not started. Absolutely amazing. So let's go back. Let's go back here, and I'll finish the CBDC update to show you what's going on around the world. So we talked about the Wells Fargo, right? We talked about the Fed and their the speech by Michael S. Barr, right? India, their WCBDC is losing interest. Banks are basically not finding arbitrage opportunities, and they're mildly interested. So there's not a whole lot of action going on. The rupee is somewhat recovered over the weekend, but overall the rupee doesn't look too good, and that could play a role in all of this, could not play a role in all of this. Really hard to tell when it comes to macroeconomics. But again, the CBDC does not appear to be taking up mass adoption in India. Their retail CBDC is doing much better than their wholesale CBDC. But again, it is what it is. All right, let's go back in the bag. And I got a whole lot of crumbs. I got a whole lot of crumbs in the bag while we wait for Jim Crow Joe and apparently Kamala's supposed to be speaking as well. We may be one of the few channels covering this. I don't see any trends or anything like that covering this, so we'll see. So here's Biden's announcement. It says, "Let me be clear. America will lead the way during this period of technological change, but we're going to do it in a way that puts safety first. Today at 2:30 p.m., I'll sign a historic executive order on artificial intelligence that will do just that." Okay? So we have to look out for that. What else should I cover? I have to read that. Let's take a look at this video here. People have been telling me there's a reparations grifter in this video. Let's take a listen.
It's again displaying our own white supremacy, especially trying to slide into your DMs. Help me, fix me.
Or let me say something else. Let me say something else. Because again, I told you I'm an independent people's worker. I'm happy that your people want to give
Independent people's worker. That sounds like socialism.
me their money and they want to support me. I'll take it. Thank you. Thank you. Trust me. Thank you. But at the same time, when we start talking about intersectionality, which is white supremacy, which is gender, which is capitalism, Americans.
Oh, man. Oh, fuck. Remember I said last week my biggest fear is that black women will be used as pawns or bishops on a chessboard to push Marxism. Notice how she says this intersectionality thing, but she highlights capitalism.
Sectionality, which is white supremacy, which is gender, which is capitalism.
You see how she puts that emphasis on capitalism?
Americans. White people, I need you to know that your money will not assuage you from your guilt. You cannot pay your way out of this. There aren't enough reparations in the world that you can pay us. And so you think because you write a check or you slide me something in Venmo that you're absolved and you can tell somebody, well, I gave Dr. Blay $100. I'm not racist. Dr. Blay is going to spend your $100 and still tell you that you're racist. Thank you.
That's awesome.
White woman just eating that up. You know, she wants to be absolved of any guilt by, hanging out with this black woman, etc., etc. Oh my God. Oh my God. There's so much wrong here. Let's go back. Let's go back to this point.
You from your guilt. You cannot pay your way out of this. There aren't enough reparations in the world that you can pay us. And so you think because you write a check or you slide me something in Venmo that you're...
Hey, listen, if y'all want to send me a check, I will absolve your ancestors of any guilt of slavery. You'll never be accused of racism by me. You can hit the Cash App right now.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
Cash App, $ Hotep Jesus. I appreciate you. Also, you could super chat or Rumble Rant. Retro Neon is a Rumble Rant veteran. Blesses the channel over on Rumble. Hey, I appreciate that, man. Anything you can give is definitely appreciated. It's not going to be taken as a form of reparations. It's going to be taken as a form of investment because the majority of my capital goes back into investing in this platform. And Joe Biden and Kamala are still not ready. But again, it comes back to...
Thank you. Trust me, thank you. But at the same time, when we start talking about intersectionality, which is white supremacy, which is gender...
I don't know how white supremacy is in intersectionality. This is so confusing to me, but whatever.
Which is capitalism.
That's the part that bothers me.
Which is capitalism, Americans.
They swear America's a capitalist nation, and it's just not true. It's just not true. America is one of the worst. Well, I can't say it's the worst example of a capitalist nation. It's probably one of the best places that capitalism is somewhat existing, but we're not a capitalist nation. If it were, we wouldn't have the gross amounts of poverty we have now. So if money is never enough, then you don't get anything at all. So you're back to square one. Yeah. So that was something I said in regards to reparations. I said, I'm not one of those pro reparations people because there's just too many question marks for me to understand. And one of them is exactly like, well, how much does it cost? Because if the government cuts a check and says reparations, you can't come back for more. And if it's one thing I know about the Negro is they're going to ask for more. Like she said, it's never going to be enough. She said it. It's never going to be enough. So, Cooley, what up, Cooley? Cooley Bravo in the chat. So it's never going to be enough. So it's like, well, what is enough? And then how is reparations? What does it look like? It's just so many moving parts and questions and not enough answers. And if you're not careful, once Biden signs that or the state governor signs that, that's it. You can't come back for more. And when they allow the progressives to put pen to paper, it usually never turns out good. So my fear is that reparations turns out to be some sort of bill that's passed that actually destroys black wealth. Who knows, how much stuffing they can put into that thing. It says a CBDC will probably be the currency they use as a security to back our cash. Well, the way they talk about it is it just represents like deposits. They say a CBDC will represent deposits. That's what they say. But no, I don't think I don't look at it as backing the currency. No, it's backed by the United States credit, as Wells Fargo stipulated in their paper, which is the most honest take I've seen on it. Excuse me. Oh, there it goes. All right, let's go back in the bag. That's absolutely wild. I want to store this video. I want to save this for later. Let's put that under politics. I'm going to remove it from the Grift bag, but we might have to refer back to that video later. Let's talk about Elon's censorship. Since we're on the the mode of censorship. So we talked about earlier how digital payments, specifically mobile payments, in Kenya and Tanzania, how it affected the people there, huge tax increases and privacy violations. And then Elon wants to do his coin thingamajiggy, right? His WeChat payment system that looks like China. And he's admitted that. So then we were talking about this before, right? We talked about this last week, Goldstein and I. And we talked about...
Distinguished guests, the President of the United States, accompanied by the Vice President of the United States.
Hold on. Biden's here. We'll come back to that.
Good afternoon, everyone. Please have a seat. To our President, Joe Biden, members of Congress, members of our administration, and our private sector and civil society partners. As leaders from government, civil society, and the private sector, I believe we have a moral, ethical, and societal duty to make sure that AI is adopted and advanced in a way that protects the public from potential harm and ensures that everyone is able to enjoy its benefits. Since we took office, President Biden and I have worked to uphold that duty. Before generative AI captured global attention, President Biden and I convened leaders from across our country, from computer scientists to civil rights leaders to legal scholars and business leaders, all to help make sure that the benefits of AI are shared equitably, and to address predictable threats, such as algorithmic discrimination, data privacy violations, and deepfakes. We named it the Blueprint for an AI Bill of Rights, after which President Biden and I had extensive engagement with the leading AI companies to help ensure the private sector commits to the principles in the blueprint, and to establish a minimum baseline of responsible AI practices. We intend that the actions we are taking domestically will serve as a model for international action, understanding that AI developed in one nation can impact the lives and livelihoods of billions of people around the world. Fundamentally, it is our belief that technology with global impact requires global action. Tomorrow, I will travel to the United Kingdom to represent our nation at the Global Summit on AI Safety. There, we will work with our allies and our partners to apply existing international rules and norms with a purpose to promote global order and stability, and where necessary, to build support for additional rules and norms that meet this moment. Let us be clear, when it comes to AI, America is a global leader. It is American companies that lead the world in AI innovation. It is America that can catalyze global action and build global consensus in a way that no other country can. And under President Joe Biden, it is America that will continue to lead on AI. And there are many ways to define the leadership of our President, Joe Biden. As even a quick review of his most recent victories makes clear. From creating technology innovation hubs in 31 communities across our nation, to expanding America's semiconductor industry, to making the largest investment ever in climate in America's history. So just a few points to say that President Biden is a leader with a vision for our future. He has the ambition to meet the challenges of the moment here and around the globe. And he has the courage and skill to lead us forward, including on AI. And with that, it is my great honor and privilege to introduce our President, Joe Biden.
I was hoping we wouldn't have to hear from him.
Thank you. Please. I can remind you of that. I'm teasing. Thank you, Kamala, for that introduction and for your leadership in this issue. Before I begin, I want to explain why I was delayed a few minutes. I've just spoken with President Fain of the United Auto Workers. And let me say a few words about the UAW and the big three automakers, Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis. They have reached a historic agreement and a hard-fought agreement that was really battled for a while, but it was all done in good faith. And these record agreements reward auto workers who gave up much to keep the industry working and going during the financial crisis more than a decade ago. These agreements ensure the iconic Big Three can still lead the world in quality and innovation. Due to the commitment and solidarity of the UAW workers, willing to exercise their right to collectively bargain, they won a record contract with over a 30% increase in wages, greater retirement security, and more paid leave. And the commitment by the Big Three to create more full-time middle-class jobs and invest tens of billions more dollars in plants and factories building automobiles' future here in America. I applaud the UAW and the leaders of the automobile companies for agreeing that all the workers on strike and all those who were walking the picket lines on behalf of the UAW, brothers and sisters, can go back to work immediately, even before the vote is taken. Ultimately, the final word on this contract will be for the UAW memberships themselves in the days and coming weeks as they vote. But here's what I know and what I shared with the United Auto Workers I met in the picket line. I've always believed that the middle class built America and that unions built the middle class. And that's especially the case for the United Auto Workers who built the iconic automobile industry. For too long, in my view, the economy hasn't worked for working people and for middle class folks. Because when they do well, by the way, everybody does well. That's why I came to office determined to build an economy to build from the middle out and the bottom up instead of the top down. It's a critical piece of worker power and is showing how collective bargaining works by providing workers a seat at the table to honor their contributions to their employer's success by securing pay and benefits that can raise a family on and retire with dignity and respect. It's showing how collective bargaining works for companies, how strong relationship between workers and management can mean record profits leading to record contracts. We're also seeing it across the board for the UAW workers. We're seeing this everywhere. Rail workers, port workers, Teamsters, writers, health workers, and workers on other industries organizing and by collective bargaining. Folks, look, today's historic agreement is yet another piece of good economic news showing something I've always believed. Worker power is critical to building an economy from the middle out and the bottom up, and so is economic growth. We just learned that our economy grew 4.9% the last quarter, the highest growth in 2 years, just as inflation continues to come down. We have more to do, but we're finally beginning to build an economy that works for working people, for the middle class, for the entire company, the entire country, including the companies. Because when we do that, The poor have a ladder up, the middle class does well, and the wealthy still do very well. We all do well. And that brings me to today's announcement. Folks, I want to thank Kamala again for the work she's done through her entire career to protect people from harm and to promote responsible innovation. She's traveling to the United Kingdom, as she pointed out this week, where she'll highlight how America's setting the standard for AI safety, security, and trust. I want to thank all of you for joining us here. Some of you, members of my cabinet, members of Congress, including the Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, who's been a real leader in this here, Chuck. Thank you, pal. You've, state and Senate and local officials, leaders in technology, business, labor, academia, civil rights, civil society. And we'll see more technology. Well, you know, I know you know this, but we're going to see more technological change in the next 10, maybe the next 5 years than we've seen in the last 50 years. And that's a fact. And the most consequential technology of our time, artificial intelligence, is accelerating that change. It's going to accelerate it at warp speed. AI is all around us. Much of it is making our lives better. And AI is helping the National Weather Service predict weather events, helping the Webb telescope manage 500,000 miles of galaxies away, billions of light years away. I found it when I turned on my phone and saw that. I thought, my God, what is this? Science fiction. I'm serious. Didn't you have the same thought when you saw it? AI is helping millions of commuters find the shortest route home as well. But, you know, in some cases, AI is making life worse. For example, using teenagers' personal data to figure out what will keep them glued to their device. AI makes social media more addictive. It's causing what our Surgeon General calls a profound risk of harm to their mental health and well-being. Over the past years, Kamala and I have met with a range of experts, many of whom are here today, and thank you for coming. Here today on the risks and the incredible opportunities of AI. One thing is clear. To realize the promise of AI and avoid the risk, we need to govern this technology, and there's no other way around it, in my view. It must be governed. That's why we're here today. I'm about to sign an executive order that is the most significant action any government anywhere in the world has ever taken on AI safety, security, and trust. This order builds on the critical steps we've already taken to ensuring the AI Bill of Rights to bring together leading AI companies who agreed to voluntarily make certain commitments to make sure AI is safe and the system is secure. With today's executive order I'll soon be signing, I'm determined to do everything in my power to promote and demand responsible innovation. First, the executive order is about AI safety and security. Today, I'm invoking what's called the Defense Production Act that federal government uses in the most urgent moments, like mobilizing the nation during a time of war or developing COVID vaccines during the pandemic. This executive order will use the same authority to make companies prove that their most powerful systems are safe before allowing them to be used. That means companies must tell the government about the large-scale AI systems they're developing and share rigorous independent test results to prove they pose no national security or safety risk to the American people. At the same time, I'll direct the Department of Energy to make sure AI systems don't pose chemical, biological, or nuclear risks at the same time. Look, in the wrong hands, AI can make it easier for hackers to exploit vulnerabilities in the software that makes our society run. That's why I'm directing the Department of Defense and the Department of Homeland Security, both of them, to develop game-changing cyber protections that will make our computers and our critical infrastructure more secure than it is today. And that's why my administration has taken decisive steps to prevent these cutting-edge AI chips from being used to undermine our national security, which is possible. Second, the order is about making sure that AI systems can earn the American people's trust, the people's trust around the world. All too often it's already happening, AI devices are being used to deceive people. Deepfakes use AI-generated audio and video to smear reputations, spread fake news, and commit fraud. with AI, fraudsters can take 3-second, and you all know this, 3-second recording of your voice. I've watched one of me on a couple of things. I said, when the hell did I say that? But all kidding aside, 3 seconds recording your voice and generate an impersonation good enough to fool, I was going to say your family.
You need more than
fool
that
you.
to have a real good
I swear
impersonation.
to God, take a look at it.
3 seconds is not enough
mind-blowing.
yet.
And they can use it to scam loved ones into sending money because they think you're in trouble. That's wrong. Everyone has a right to know when audio they're hearing or video they're watching is generated or altered by AI. Thanks to this order, the Department of Commerce is going to help develop standards to watermark and clearly label AI-generated content. Just say that's how it was generated, AI generated. That way you can tell whether it's real or it's not. And when your loved ones hear your voice on a phone, they'll know it's really you. Trust matters. Trust matters. Third, this executive order is about protecting your fundamental rights to like privacy. Without safeguards, AI can put your privacy at greater risk. That's why I've called for new protections on your personal data. With this executive order, my administration is going to help develop leading-edge technology that make those protections as strong as possible. Look, privacy is not the only right at risk. Without the right safeguards in place, AI can lead to discrimination, bias, and other abuses. That's why, with the help of civil rights leaders here today, this order directs several actions to protect American civil rights and their safety. That means clear guidance for landlords and federal contractors and federal programs to prevent the bias in AI tools that can be used to make decisions on whether or not someone qualifies for housing or benefits or a job. We'll develop the best practices for AI use to ensure fairness in the criminal justice system as well. And when appropriate, the Justice Department and the federal civil rights offices will investigate and prosecute AI-related civil rights violations. The fourth thing this order does, it will ensure that emerging technology works for consumers and for workers. For example, to protect patients, we'll use AI to develop cancer drugs that work better and cost less. We'll also launch a safety program to make sure AI health systems do no harm. To protect workers, this order directs the government to help make sure AI isn't used to shortchange workers. I've also asked for a comprehensive report on the potential impact of AI on the labor market and how to help workers whose jobs have been disrupted. We're going to support workers in every industry by defining their rights and defending them to a fair way to organize and as these other more technologies emerge. And finally, we're going to make sure America leads the world in innovation and attracts the top talent to stay at the cutting edge. And because AI's challenges and opportunities are global, we're going to keep advancing American leadership globally. In meetings around the world, I've heard from leaders, and I've been going around the world a lot lately. It's good to be home. And we're looking, but leaders around the world, as they approach me, I mean in any country, they ask, is the United States going to show the way in AI? Will the United States lead? I'm sure Kamala's going to hear this when she's in the United Kingdom later this week. And we'll continue to work closely with allies and partners, including the United Nations, the G7, and the G7, which just set out the first ever international code of conduct to safely guide AI development. Look, let me be clear. This executive order represents bold action, but we still need Congress to act. We need Congress to act. I want to thank Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer here. Chuck, you've taken the reins in this issue like no one else could. You've developed legislation to harness the power of AI while keeping Americans safe. Tomorrow, I look forward to meeting with you and the bipartisan group that you've put together to bring down to the White House to underscore the need for congressional action. I'm going to continue to call on Congress to pass bipartisan legislation, to stop big tech from collecting personal data on our kids and teenagers online, to ban to ban targeting advertising to children, to limit it. The personal data these companies collect on us. Folks, let me close with this. We face a genuine inflection point in history. One of those moments where the decisions we make in the very near term are going to set the course for the next decades. And with the position we lead the world in the toughest challenges and the greatest opportunities, look, there's no greater change that I can think of in my life than AI presents as a potential. Exploring the universe, fighting climate change, ending cancer as we know it, and so much more. As artificial intelligence expands the boundary of human possibility and tests the bounds of human understanding, this landmark executive order is a testament to what we stand for: safety, security, trust, openness, American leadership, and the undeniable rights endowed by a creator that no creator, no creation can take away. Proving once again that America's strength is not just the power of its example, but the example of its power. Look, I know we can meet this moment with hope and not fear because of all of you, and I mean this sincerely because all of you here today, many of you are the originators of this technology. And all across America, the people are focused on this. You're the reason why, and I mean this sincerely, you're the reason why I've never been more optimistic about America's future. We just have to remember who in God's name we are. We're the United States of America. And there is nothing beyond our capacity when we do it together. So God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, I'm going to go over and sign that.
Wow. Wow. Oh my God.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Executive order, safe, secure, and trustworthy development of the use of artificial intelligence.
I'm gonna have to look at this.
Thank you.
I'm gonna have to take a look at this. All right, I got it up on the screen. Hold on. Hold on. I'm gonna bring this up on the screen. That was a disaster. I don't even. There's so much wrong there. There is so much wrong. So it says here, fact sheet. This is October 30th. Fact sheet. President Biden issues executive order on safe and secure, trustworthy artificial intelligence. This is the most concerning right here. It says require that developers of the most powerful AI systems, like how do you determine the most powerful AI system? That's very subjective, or it could be. Share their safety test results and other critical information with the United States government. Protection against the risk of AI to engineer dangerous biological materials. This is a good moment for us to take a look at menoforder.com. Kamar published a blog today on menoforder.com, and this is open source AI. So, you know, they want to regulate stuff, but AI is already open source. So he's listed on, if you go to menoforder.com and you go to the blog, you'll be able to see everything here. He does a great job talking about open source. So basically open source is the one that's not governed, right? The one, you know, that isn't all cucked and turned progressive, right? So there is open source AI, which you can run on your local machine and do amazing things with. So them trying to regulate AI is really a way to hinder the private market. That's really what this comes down to, the hindrance of the private market. Of course, they talk about privacy. This is the other part I didn't like. They always like to shoehorn equity and civil rights in here. I'm like, what the hell does... Okay. Provide clear guidance to landlords and federal benefit programs and federal contractors to keep AI algorithms from being used and exacerbate discrimination. So they had problems with that in the UK. We covered that last week. Algorithmic discrimination. Fairness through the criminal justice system. Best practices of the use of AI in sentencing, parole, and probation. So they shoehorn civil rights into this. This could be supporting workers. That always sounds socialist to me. Labor market impacts they want reporting on. Advancing leadership abroad. So this is where you have AI globalism. There's a global body that will have some cooperation, some global cooperation regarding the use of AI. Kenya, we talked about Kenya before. Kenya's going to be there. Nigeria is going to be there in regards to AI governance frameworks. What else is a red flag? He talked about the Defense Production Act, global order and stability. Then he said there's some sort of AI Bill of Rights. I don't see the AI Bill of Rights here. Maybe, he referred to this as the AI Bill of Rights. Maybe that's coming soon. Oh, wait, here it is. Blueprint for AI Bill of Rights. Okay, here's a blueprint for AI Bill of Rights. It's amazing my mind finds this stuff like immediately as I'm talking about it. It's like I'm just in the flow. Of course, menofwater.com to get in the flow. Get your brain booster. Okay, so they have already issued a blueprint for an AI Bill of Rights, and it's here. I'll have to scour this in detail. I'll have to read this line by line. Yeah, I'll have to read this line by line, and I'll give you an update tomorrow. I'll give you an update on this tomorrow. I'll read it line by line. Let me tweet it out. Let me tweet this out, and then I will add it to the Grift bag and as something to study. So let's go here. I'm just gonna tweet out. The title there. Okay, and then we'll bookmark that and bring that to the Grift Report. Very interesting. I'm going to cover the Elon stuff, and then we'll take phone calls. I'll be able to take a couple of phone calls. Taylor, we're going to go Taylor and then Goldstein. So text Hotep in your name to 202-596-5631, 202-596-5631. I do want to touch on this Elon censorship really fast, and I'll do this as fast as humanly possible. But what he says here is he wants to make a slight change to creator monetization. Any posts that are corrected by community notes become ineligible for revenue share. The idea is to maximize the incentive for accuracy over sensationalism. Now, I got to say, this is flawed. Let's say that it's flawed. This is not the right approach. Okay. And I was very specific last week as far as the right approach and what that is. Okay. The right approach is specifically for the portrayal of what is in a video and what is not. So if you post a video and say, this is XYZ, come to find out that that is not XYZ. And not talking about the contents, just talking about, time and place, the date, You know, for example, if you say, hey, here are some soldiers, being dropped off in Gaza, but it's really, a video from Afghanistan from 3 years ago, then you're demonetized, right? Here, he's actually opening the door up for censorship, because if you say in the middle of the pandemic that the COVID-19 vaccine can cause myocarditis and pericarditis, they would community note you and you would be demonetized. So this makes them the arbiter of what's real and what's not, what's true and what's false. So this is flawed. This is the wrong kind of censorship. This is the wrong kind of censorship. This is a big mistake by Elon. Yeah, this is a huge mistake. Let's go to the phone lines. 202-596-5631. 202-596-5631. I'll be right back after this short, brief commercial break.
Yeah, I can try to get that handled for you. Again, it's only my second day, so if you can give me a second. How am I supposed to do this? How the hell are we supposed to do this by 5 o'clock?
I have no clue.
Is that possible? Hey, do you have the password to... How'd you finish all your work already?
He's not tapped in.
How'd you get that done so quick? They think they're gonna be able to budget that?
It's money. That's money right there. You understand?
You guys finished your work 6 hours early?
He's not tapped in.
All right, Taylor call in. Taylor said he texted me this morning and said, I want to call in before Goldstein, specifically. So let's get Taylor on the line. Taylor, where are you? Just like that. There he is.
Call from
Taylor Madden.
Taylor, what's up, man?
Hey, happy Monday.
Happy Monday, man.
I'll quick. I just had a quick thought that I had over the weekend, and I was mulling on it, and I wanted to talk it out loud.
Okay.
I think about why often I lean more towards Uncle Hotep in a debate with Hotep Jesus versus Uncle Hotep, but I really enjoy listening to your points, and I think that came through a little bit more with thinking about Goldstein and why I find him so interesting to listen to, even though many times I think he's got a little bit too much tinfoil on his kufi. And I thought about this for a minute, and I thought, we've all been propagandized. Just living in America, being propagandized is a thing that happens. You're living in any country, of course you're going to get propagandized, and just because it's propaganda doesn't mean it's not true. However, you as the person that's being propagandized will never know what is false, what you're being propagandized about, until you obviously break away from that propaganda. And I realized Goldstein has broken fully away from all the propaganda every single time, completely broken away. And I thought, man, that's admirable. So I just wanted to give some props to Goldstein. Keep saying your takes that sometimes I think are a little bit crazy, because I need to hear them, because people that have been propagandized need to hear them. That doesn't mean they're always correct. That doesn't mean that they're always true, but you need to hear those type of takes, just because you don't know what you know it.
Yep. Big facts. So, wait, how you lean towards Unc more than me?
Oh, Unc often I'm always.
See, God don't like ugly. He done limited your bandwidth while you were speaking. What'd you say?
Oh, just oftentimes when you guys are on Hotep's been told to, I'll be starting from the point of Unc, like that's a good point, Unc, and then I'll just, I don't know, I just lean towards Unc a lot of those times. I can't think of anything in particular right now.
That's terrible. That's terrible. That's because Uncle Hotep's the white man, black man.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
That's what that's about. Let it be known, I keep being proven right and right again about Palestine is the new BLM.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
And it's coming out more and more. Today I saw something coming out said Palestinian lives matter. Wow. Amazing.
Well, anyways, that's it for me. I wanted to shout out to Goldstein. I wanted to set the stage for him to give his take today, and then Hotep and Build.
Hotep and Build. Let's get Goldstein in here. Text him there. Tell him call in. Yeah, this is a huge misstep by Elon. Huge misstep. Like, I get it, but it should only be on videos and photos. Information, oh, it's double-edged, man. It's double-edged. It's really double-edged.
Call from
Murphy's Law Rescue.
Goldstein, what up, man?
What up?
What up? Happy Monday and all that.
Happy Monday. Shout out to Taylor Madden right there.
Yes, sir.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, I like that dude. He's pretty concise with his takes. And you could already tell he one of them hella smart niggas.
Yes, he is.
Yes, sir.
Yes, he is.
I look forward to meeting him at Hotep Con.
You will. Absolutely, you will. Yeah. I mean, he's a vital part of our organization.
Yeah. Hey, so did you peep how dead in the eyes that white broad looked when she was sitting right there getting talked to about reparations?
Oh yeah. The look on her face was crazy.
She looked like she was just dead inside, just like, I need you to whoop me as hard as you possibly can whoop me in every aspect of my life because I'm miserable.
Indeed. What did I
put hard. That was hard to watch. And usually I like a good motherfucking dragon, but that was hard to watch, man.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Down bad.
Yeah. She looked she looked very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
She looked very uncomfortable. Yeah, to say the least.
That bitch literally told her, listen, I don't give a fuck how much money you give us. We still gonna dog you the fuck out. It's at that point you gotta say to yourself, well, then I ain't giving you shit.
Right.
I can't repair the situation. I can't make it better. I can't shut you the fuck up.
Yeah.
So I may as well not give you a goddamn thing. At least I get to go buy my Starbucks at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, it's bitches like that, and it's the ones like Constance.
Yeah.
Man, just horrible human beings all the way around. But even more than that, they just don't seem to quite understand that you ain't shit as a person, right? You ain't shit as a person. So what you should probably do is at least leave this motherfucking world in a better place than when you found it.
Right.
By just admitting that small fact. I ain't shit as a person. Boom. I'm good.
Yeah.
What's up? Yeah. What's up with Unc though, man?
What happened?
On this Palestinian thing.
Wait, what about him? What he do now?
Palestinian shit is the new BLMs. You're taking the opposite side of this.
Because he don't want to admit I'm right. He holding on. He's holding on for dear life.
That's his only play. He just don't want to admit you right.
He just don't want to admit I'm right. Because
I haven't heard a clear, concise argument on his behalf as to why he feels the way he does. I've just heard counter arguments to yours.
Right.
And it's like, I'm still trying to figure it out because maybe he knows some shit I don't. You know what I mean?
No,
But
no. His
I
only
ain't seen
argument is there hasn't been any burning and looting yet. And I'm
Look,
just like, what?
bro, listen, let me tell you something right now. They're not going to burn or loot a goddamn thing. This isn't Palestine against buildings or Palestine against a system of oppression. This isn't the same thing in that regard. When you see them get active, this is going to be Palestinians fucking up Jews specifically. Like, you ain't going to see no one burn down a Lululemon. What you will see, though, is possibly, if this shit continues to escalate, you know, a few dead bodies in the streets where the protest was happening. This is beyond what BLM had going on as far as violence. You know what I mean? BLM's brand of violence was comical.
I agree with that. I agree with that. But I don't think they're above and beyond looting. I think the looting just hasn't started yet.
You think that's going to come?
It's a strong possibility. I'm leaning like 75 to 80% that the burning and looting just hasn't gotten here yet. Because you got to remember, the operatives aren't involved yet. It comes in waves. First, you get the organic, then you get the co-op from the communists, then you get the agitators. So the agitators are like phase 3. So that's what you get your Antifa and your looters that hide behind the communists who hide behind the organic. So, and that might not come until next summer. And if there's one thing you know about, well, let me not say that, but let's just say the people involved in this are they're no stranger to explosives.
Exactly.
So, you know, where it's setting stuff on fire, you know, it's definitely within their wheelhouse.
Yeah. And I wanted to touch on this Elon thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same shit you was just saying about opening the door to censorship. The same shit I was just saying to my old lady this morning. I was like, he doesn't really clearly define how this shit will go. So what's going to happen is it's going to get abused.
Correct.
And I don't know, man. I think we need an inside track to Elon. So here's what I propose.
Mm-hmm.
You know that ALX dude?
Yeah.
He seems to have Elon's ear.
Yeah.
We might even have Elon's bed. Jury's out on that. But I think we need to go snatch his ass up.
Okay.
We need to go snatch up Alex, bro, and get at him and be like, Alex, listen, this is the way. This is the way, Alex.
Yeah.
And play him last week's show.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we touched on this last week. I think it was Friday when we were talking about it's amazing how we were ahead of this. Because this wasn't even in the conversation, right? Like nobody on the internet was talking about it. This is something that exclusively happened on this show. You talked about it and I talked about it. We discussed this. And just over the weekend, he implements nearly the exact thing we said. Nearly. He misses. But again, I think this is a huge miss and an opportunity for them to censor information.
He might be listening to the show, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
He might be listening to the show, which is probably not a good thing because I done called that man the Antichrist. And if he is, I'm cooked. I'm cooked all the way around.
I mean, you know, I'm definitely cooked because I'm very critical of Elon. Elon, if you're watching, just reach out to us and we can figure out how to fix this, how to make these things better. But your decisions, especially around this community notes decision, are off. They're off, bro. And it's looking like 1984.
Telling you, dude. Truth ministry looking at him. I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's looking funny in the light. It should just be on videos and photos. Is this what's actually in the photo? Is this what's actually in the video? Whether it's right or wrong, it has to be accurate.
Right. Right.
And him just saying, hey, if Community Notes checks you, then you're demonetized. And it's just like, we had that same issue with the last Twitter regime. And they get to deem what's truth and what's not. And the truth has to be determined by the people and not a central authority.
Yeah, it's going to look ugly. It's just going to look like the rights version of it. It's going to be the same shit, though.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to backfire.
Hey, before I go, though, I want to ask you one question.
Yeah.
Where the fuck Vivek been, bro?
He just did InfoWars.
He just did InfoWars?
Yeah.
Man, he was everywhere for a hot minute, and then the Israeli shit popped off, and he just disappeared.
Because much of his work is done. I got him on the screen here with Alex. Pence dropped out, and who else dropped out?
Pence, that one unknown dude, Larry Elder,
Larry Elder dropped out. Did Greg drop out?
Who?
I'm sure he probably did. The obscure dude that had the broken leg when he showed up to the first interview. I'm sure he probably Doug. I said Greg. Doug.
Nah, I don't think Doug did.
No, Doug's still in there?
Yeah, I ain't heard nothing about Doug. I think he's still in there.
Okay.
I mean, he's on his way, but he's still in there for now.
I'm gonna look up who dropped out now.
This is gonna be messy, man. Next year gonna be messy.
It's gonna be so messy, dog. It's gonna be so messy.
Man.
Christie's out. No, Christie's not out. He made a comment about Pence. So Vivek, I mean, because these guys are dropping out, now he's sort of recharging himself and getting ready for the next leg. But he just did InfoWars, which is very grifty, but interesting at the same time. He's trying to reach a new audience. So we'll see where that takes him.
You think he's going to be working for the State Department?
He's going to get a job somewhere. My guess is TV.
You don't think he's going to be in Trump's cabinet?
No.
No?
No. Not enough experience to be in his cabinet. If he is in his cabinet, you'd have to put him somewhere in big pharma or tech, maybe finance, but somewhere in, business administration. But I see him getting a job at Fox. He's going to be, that's his best bet.
Going to be motherfucking Secretary of Defense. I know that sounds crazy, but that's what's happening.
You said who's going to be Secretary of Defense?
DeSantis.
DeSantis will be Secretary of Defense? So you think he'll end up in Trump's cabinet?
Yep.
That's possible. That's possible.
You heard it here first.
Especially the way things are going. Yeah, that's a good call. I wouldn't argue that.
All right, man. I'm gonna let you get back to the show, though.
All right, Hotep and Bill.
Hotep and Bill.
Opinionated Junkie. Thank you for the super chat. Opinionated Junkie. Breaking a cherry, popping my cherry, pause, with the super chat. He says Trump already won. Shout out to the big boy Cash Apper. Daryl blessed me with $50 on the Cash App. I appreciate you. That's what's up. All right. Who's on the phone lines? Rudy, call in. Let's talk to Rudy. Who is this? I don't even know who this is. Rudy, call in. Let's talk to Rudy. I can't stay too long today. I have to prepare for my Twitter Spaces with Wendy O, 4 p.m. right on Twitter. So make sure y'all tune in. That's going to be always a fun, explosive, informational chat. The name of that one today is called USD 3.0. So we'll talk about that It's going to be an exciting conversation. So make sure you guys go there, hit the set reminder button. What happens if we refresh? What does that say? Does it give me a count? Or does it only give the host a count? Right, it doesn't tell me how many people.
Call from
Rudy, what's up, man?
What's going on, brother? What is going on, man?
Chilling. Life is
How
good.
How you living today, man? I hope you had a good weekend, brother. I hope you had a good weekend. I know I like to grift on the weekends too, but I hope you enjoyed yourself.
Yeah, I spent time with fam and friends, checking on people, making sure loved ones are good. So I didn't get a chance to grift this week, and I had to take care of people.
You did the family grift, man. The best grift in the world, brother.
Yeah, it had to be done.
Grift in the world. Hey, just a quick couple points, man. I'm gonna quick hit you, and then I'm in and out, man. It's funny as shit, man.
Okay.
They're clapping like. They're happy as shit. Happy little sheep that the government once again. No debate, no legislation, the people have no say in it. It's just an executive order by an old shitbag that lets a bunch of left-wing ideologue Obama holdovers write policy for the whole fucking country, and they applaud it.
Yeah.
And then go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
No, a lot of paid people in that building, right? People who are with the agenda were in that building. People that in the AI world, and really, what this is. You have the Googles, the Bings, all these different large organizations that are developing AI, and now that they have a head start in the race and are funding most of the AI projects with this executive order, it's going to raise the barrier to entry, which is going to mean that it stifles competition, and it's going to raise the barrier to entry. It's going to make it harder for the middle class to compete with Google. If somebody like yourself wanted to develop an AI. Now it's like, okay, now I have to jump through these Biden hoops to get my AI off the ground because I got to make sure it's compliant, whereas some of that stuff didn't exist before, whereas Google and the rest of the guys are already in the door. So this is another example of communism.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, like, if you ain't incensed about what you just saw and watched, that the whole entire process of what this fucking country was supposed to be about, it's just out the fucking door for that shitbag to sign a piece of paper and say, this is the law now.
Yeah.
It's fucking stupid, man. And people are going to cheer it and applaud it. And not just the people in that building, because, of course, it's exactly what you said. They're all in on the fucking scam. But there's half the country's going to be like, oh, this is a good thing, man. We're going to have some regulation on the AI. And not realize that you were cut out of the fucking process by oatmeal brains, the crazy bitch, and all of those goddamn tech execs.
Yeah,
So,
and everybody who's afraid of AI is going to be championing this thing as if it's something good.
Exactly, brother. Exactly, man. You read my fucking mind, man. Good job, man. Good job exposing it again. Good job with the CBD shit. And I'm with Goldstein, man. I'm 100%, man. He plucked the words right out of my mind, man. It's not. They're not going to riot and run in Nike, dog. They're going to start lynching Jews in the street, bro.
Oh, my God.
And I'm sorry, hey, he's absolutely right, dog. You see the Dagestani airport, they ran down on a plane and were snatching people out of the plane, taking their passports. Did you see any of that?
Yeah.
You see them attack the black Hebrew Israelites in fucking Chicago yesterday?
Yeah.
Dude, they're going to start lynching Jews in the street, man. And the funny thing about it is, and it's not funny, but the sad part about it is, their organizations that they run, those left-wing Jews, the SPLC, the ADL, have sat there for years and said that white dudes like me are the fucking problem. And I ain't never had a problem with anybody behind their skin color, race, or ethnicity. I only got problems with people who got problems with me. But the fucking Jonathan Greenblatt will sit up there and say, it's you, it's him. Beware of that guy. Beware of that guy. Beware of the guy who's out in the country living his own life, and he's got rifles, so he's about white supremacy, and he doesn't like colored folk, or he doesn't like Jewish people. The people that they pointed the finger at are the ones that don't want nothing to do with none of this bullshit. And the people that they defended are the ones that are going to turn around and start lynching them in the streets, man. And it's sad.
Yeah.
It's fucking sad. It's fucking sad, man. That people are so sheepy, man. Goddamn sheepies. But that's about it, brother, man. I love you, man. I love the chat, man. Y'all have a good day, man. I'm going to get back on this lawn, man. It's a beautiful day down here in the Carolinas, man. Hotep and Bill to everyone. Peace out, man.
All right, Hotep and Bill. What? Why would they do that? Just what? Why would Amazon not just leave my package at the door like they do every other package? Why would you do that? Why? I think that's the right credit card. Absolutely ridiculous. All right, I got to shut down phone lines. I got to get ready for my chat with Wendy Yo. I'll be back. So we're going 4 p.m. Wendy Yo Black and White podcast. We're going to talk about USD 3.0. Hotep's been told you 2.0 tonight, 10 p.m. live. Patreon.com/Hotep's been told you. If you want access to the live of Hotep's been told you 2.0. We do 2 shows a week, one free, one paid with Uncle Hotep. That's tonight at 10 p.m. Go to patreon.com/Hotep's been told you. I think it's like $5 a month or something like that. Much better than Netflix. And Uncle Hotep and I are going to talk, argue, discuss, converse, various topics and watch some funny videos and give you our opinions on those. It's about an hour show. So you guys can go get that. Patreon.com/Hotep's been told you. And then tomorrow we got Royce White joining the platform.
Oh, this a real Hotep brother.
So I look forward to that. And in the meantime, Hotep and Bill.
Yeah, I can try to get that handled for you. Again, it's only my second day, so if you can give me a second. How am I supposed to do this? How the hell are we supposed to do this by 5 o'clock?
I have no clue.
Is that possible? Hey, do you have the password to... How'd you finish all your work already?
He's not tapped in.
How'd you get that done so quick?
They think they're gonna be able to budget that?
It's money. That's money right there. You understand?
You guys finished your work 6 hours early?
He's not tapped in.